should be working. Browser. Oh god, hold on. Yep. Okay. Okay, it's working. And let me just open up here. Let me go newest. Hello everyone, JulioCoolio here, and this is something I've been meaning to do for a while. So, if you guys remember, in November I asked for a few Q&A questions, and I really never got to get to those, unfortunately, because 2020 has been... it's been a year. So, I decided that eventually I was just going to make the Q&As a stream, because making it to like an edited video and stuff, like, it would take a lot more work, and by the time I would get to that, the Q&As would be like outdated in a sense. So I decided that all my Q&As from now on are just going to be live streams, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Oh, okay, there is actually a delay on the screen. Uh, okay, let me see. Browser. Is there... okay. Alright, good. So, let me just go over here. And basically, the way that we're gonna do this is that... okay. The way that we're gonna do this is that I'm gonna go by the newest questions first from those that were posted. And I also have to go through the ones that are on Instagram and Twitter. And I think I actually have a few ones from Snapchat, which I'll just be reading off my phone. But anyways, since it's Power Rangers Day, I figured, why don't we just do it now? And obviously I'm outside because I just like being outside. It helps me be able to concentrate. This is actually how I write most of my videos. I just go outside and I start writing, and I could probably get a video done in like an hour or two. And editing, that's a whole nother story, but okay, let's just dive into the questions. I'm sorry, I like talking a lot. So, first question is from Julio Izquierdo. When will we get our top 7 most wanted Power Rangers Lightning Collection Allies videos? Now, this was obviously from before I posted that video, but that video is now posted, so if you go on my channel, you can check it out, and the thumbnail should have one of the B spots and Sheriff Skyfire, and it has like a green thing to the side and stuff, because I try to make my thumbnails sort of simplistic in a way so that they could be easily identifiable. But obviously this comment was before I actually made the video. I was actually in the process of writing a list as of this video, like in the very, very early drafts. But obviously the video is done now, so you could go ahead and check it out. Eric Espinoza. More thoughts on the Lightning Collection since Wave 3 is out in some locations. Wow, this really was a long time ago. I have a whole video on the Lightning Collection, actually, that's coming soon. The problem is that it's already done, but it's going to be premiering at an event first, so I don't know when I'll be able to release it on the channel. Hopefully around next week or so I'll be able to release it. And what do you think about the Samurai Ranger suits? I like the suits. They're simple, but in a way, like, they look pretty good. Gold is my favorite just because of the navy blue that's on it, but if you had to ask me my favorite suits from that show, it would be the Mega Mode suits. I just love how they got inspired by the 95 movie, and really, it's a shame they were just used as Megazord cockpit modes, because I think they could have worked as really great power-ups. Let me see. Hello everyone, I'm just seeing the live chat right here. Actually, let me do something. Let me see if this will work. Oh, God, it's not working. Okay. Oops. Can't let you people see that. That's all like the streaming stuff. Actually, I think what I could do... I can't hear you. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry. I actually did a test on OBS a little while ago, but this is really my first time using it like to really stream. So let me just. Okay, if I put it like this, I'll actually be able to read the live chat and stuff as the live stream goes on. Let me see. Maybe if I raise my volume. Yeah. See if you can hear me now. Because I know one of you guys was having problems. Yeah. See if you can hear me now. Because I know one of you guys was having problems. Okay, yeah, I see. I just had to up the volume on OBS. But basically, let me go back to the questions here. Alright. So, Alpha Proto. I'm new to the channel. The new Power Rangers comics and game have had me curious about what was happening with the Rangers that led me to some videos on this channel. I've noticed what if videos are popular on YouTube. What do you think about making what if so was Power Rangers? Videos of how you adapt an unused Sentai season into Power Rangers. You could stick with the recent unused seasons or go back as far as the old Sentai. Kind of like Power Rangers prequel set in the 70s and 80s. You could stick close to the Sentai or adapt to incorporate introduction Power Rangers elements we know today. Keep up the great videos. May the power protect you. Thank you. This comment actually stuck out to me because my original intention with this channel was really sort of making it like the Star Wars theory of Power Rangers in a way. And I have a project in the works because I watched JulioCoolio recently and I really liked the show, and I had an idea of how to adapt it as like sort of a video game-esque season. Think like Tron meets Power Rangers. And I still have to get to work on that because I don't know like what format I want to go with. I'm trying to go with the Bandit Corporate format of what he did with the Star Wars prequels, where he made like he planned out all the dialogue and stuff, but obviously that takes a lot of time. Or I was thinking like maybe just like brief summaries of what I would do. So that's still in the process, but this is a really good recommendation because I have been wanting to do like sort of these theory videos for a while. And that might actually lead me to go back to some old ideas that I've had about like certain Power Rangers theories. So thank you for your comment, Alpha Proto. What would be your title for Power Rangers 2 if they made one? I would call it Green with Evil. Just because that's the name of the 5-parter in the original show, so like you could bank in on the nostalgia, but also I feel that Green with Evil captures perfectly like the whole essence of the Green Ranger arc. It's basically, well, there's this new guy, he's evil, and we gotta fight him. And then he'll eventually join us. Sebastian Villeneuve says, what is your favorite Ranger? I would say my favorite Ranger character would be Tommy. Like, just because, like, I really like Tommy for all of it, for basically appearing so many times and all of his power-ups and stuff. But I also like Sky from SPD just because of his character development. Like, he went from, like, a really arrogant douche to a respectable leader because of the fact that he was in second in command. And I also like Heckle, obviously, because of the Dark Ranger. And let me just check back on the stream. Okay, W1004 Leo, I recognize you. What's up? I sent you something on Instagram, want your opinion? Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to my Instagram messages as of late. I've just sort of been, like, out of social media because school just started earlier this week. So I've been, like, more focused on that. Thoughts on 01 so far? I haven't seen the final 3 episodes, but so far I think it's a really good show. Like, that twist, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know what it is, you know. Oh my freaking god, it's brilliant. That twist is just brilliant. And it makes sense within the context of the story, because the arc is fueled by hatred, fear, basically like all the negative emotions. And it makes sense that if someone were to feel that way, like, they could sort of be possessed by the arc. It's, in a way, I know there was another show that did something like this. I can't think of it right now, unfortunately, but we'll just move on to the next question over here. Are you subscribing to Disney Plus or HBO Max? I subscribed to Disney Plus when it came out. I watched The Mandalorian, Fantastic Four, the 90s cartoon, and Milo Murphy's Law. I especially recommend the third show because it's made by the same guys who make Phineas and Ferb, and it's starring Weird Al Yankovic, and it's an episodic show, but it's so fun to watch, especially in season 2. With the season 2 premiere, I was like, oh my god, this is like the perfect Power Rangers crossover. HBO Max, I actually have it for free since I have AT&T, but I haven't seen anything on there yet. But I'm excited to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Hi, JulioCoolio. Which Lightning figures collection figures do you have? From the same guy who asked the last one, Ramel Ahmed. And sorry if I'm butchering that. But I have all of the figures so far that have come out, except for Dino Thunder White, Wave 6, Draken Evo 3, like the ones that just came out. So, yeah, but in terms of like all the main releases, I would say like up to Wave 5, I have all of them, and I also have the Psycho Ranger pack and the Omega Ranger set. Would you be able to give me a shout out, please? I'm a UK entertainment channel. I enjoy your content, by the way. Thank you, Splitsy Entertainment. And yes, I will give you a shout out. So, let me go here. And if you guys want to check out Splitsy Entertainment, please go ahead on YouTube. Do you think we'll get the Dino Fury cast today? I think it's a possibility because of the fact that Morphicon was supposed to happen at this time, but it didn't. So I figure like a good way to celebrate Power Rangers Day would be for them to just reveal the cast for the new show. I'm not going to be angry or anything like that if they don't reveal it, but I just feel like it would make sense for them to go ahead and do that. And Bill McCurry. Since Hasbro now owns the rights to Power Rangers, would we see IDW make comics for other PR seasons like SPD, Ninja Steel, Zeo, Turbo, Mighty Morphin, Alien Rangers, and a few others, since Boom Studios is doing MMPR? I think Boom is just going to be handling everything Power Rangers comics-wise just because they've been successful, and they've done like some really good content, so obviously you wouldn't want to let go of a business partner who has been producing content that the fans like and that's profitable. And we're actually starting to get into 2 new comic series where it's like one of them is going to be for MMPR and the other one's going to be for the Omega Rangers. And we've also gotten some stuff like the Psychopath novel, which we'll talk about eventually because, woo, I have a lot of stuff to say about that. But yeah, I think for now Boom is just going to be taking care of everything on the comic side. What would it be like if Die Ranger suits were used in MMPR Season 2? Would it be renamed as Mighty Morphin Thunder Rangers? I think probably. I think, like, in a way it would be interesting to see what they would have done with the Die Ranger suits. But also, I could see why we didn't get them. Because, for example, for Voltron, you had, like, Lion Voltron, which is based on Go Lion, and then Vehicle Voltron. I'm sorry, I'm just talking way too fast. Okay. So I think, like, because there was that confusion when Vehicle Voltron came out after Lion Voltron, that's why Saban opted not to use the Die Ranger suits, except the White Ranger to give Tommy an upgrade, since he's like the most famous character at the time. But honestly, I would be interested to see how the Die Ranger suits would have worked into MMPR. Hopefully that's something the Boom Comics will explore. What would it be like if you got an insect-themed Power Rangers series like Beetleborgs and Kamen Rider Kabuto? That's actually one of the themes I want to see the most in the future from Power Rangers and Sentai. Just because, like, all these other shows have done it, but Power Rangers hasn't done it. And I feel like if they want to go back to the animal theme, like they have multiple times before, an insect theme or an ocean life theme would just be the way to go to do something different. Sort of like how Jetman has animals as its motif, but it's all about birds. Alright, Coolias. What would your feelings be if Ultraman was adapted and Kamen Rider Metal Hero returned? Well, Kamen Rider has been back for the past 20 or so years. Metal Hero's returning, I think it'd be pretty cool, actually. Just because, like, Metal Heroes is that sort of thing where it's like Kamen Rider, but better in terms of the suits because all the suits are so shiny and stuff. But unfortunately, I think they're just going to be regulated to, like, cameos in the near future. And Ultraman, we're starting to see Ultraman go into the West with stuff like Marvel's Ultraman comic and the DVDs and stuff. And I don't think it'll be adapted just because when you already have... These days, when you have a Japanese show that's going into the US, it either just airs with subtitles or a dub, but nobody really spends the money to do an adaptation anymore, unless you're Power Rangers, obviously. Kamen Rider 64. Do you think Saban's Masked Rider could have been better if it was more of an action show similar to Power Rangers and VR Troopers? Yes. I haven't seen all of Masked Rider, but from what I've seen, it doesn't really look that great. And maybe it has to do with how they were trying to do sort of like a Full House Cosby Show style sort of comedy thing. And I think if it was more of an action show, it probably would have been more successful. But then again, like, Masked Rider, I feel probably would have had to end eventually or do something radical because at the time, Kuga didn't exist and we were at a point where the future of Kamen Rider was uncertain. What if all villains and Rangers fight like in the Japan series? Are you talking about something like the Legend War? Because we already had that in Megaforce, but I would like to see another Legend War in the near future eventually, just for the heck of it. Just because I like seeing all the Rangers united. Alright, let me go back here. And... Hi Julio, if you could make one of the Sentai seasons of the Power Rangers, which would it be and why? Q Ranger. Just because it's basically a marketing success already. You have a ton of different Rangers, you have a space theme, which I really love space, and I feel like you can make it sort of Star Wars, sort of like the next Star Wars in a way. You can make it sort of like in space, but better. And I just love all the suits of Q Ranger and stuff. You have the possibility of exploring like different planets. Basically, it would be perfect for the 30th anniversary. I hope Hasbro is considering it for the 30th anniversary because it would be a perfect way to do some world building. And if the rumors are true that Hasbro is going to be splitting with Toei, which I can't really see happening permanently, but I can see it happening like sort of as a gap year, maybe when the new Power Rangers movie comes out, then I would like Q Ranger at least to be adapted so you could at least go out with a bang. If you had the ability, so Kwang Nam Pham, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. If you have the ability to fix one of the Power Rangers series to make it better, which would it be? Mine is Operation Overdrive. Megaforce. Megaforce had a lot of potential, but sadly, because of executive meddling, a lot of stuff went down the drain. And I know some people like to come at me for always like bashing on Megaforce and stuff, which, okay, I get it. In a way, it kind of sounds like gatekeeping, but if you like Megaforce, that's fine, more power to you. I don't really care what other people think of other shows. In terms of like, if you have your opinion, that's fine, I'll stick with mine, because it's a TV show at the end of the day. Media is supposed to be subjective. But I feel like Megaforce really could have gone so much more. In the toy line, it was perfect with all the stuff like the Legacy stuff and all the past Red Ranger figures. But in terms of the show, like, I think even if you were to remove the whole cameo aspect, it still could have worked, at least if you had competent writing. And if they would have focused on developing the characters instead of fight 24/7. I still feel that the best pseudo anniversary season was Dino Thunder, just because it manages to call back to Mighty Morphin in subtle ways, but it also manages to like do its own thing. And I think Tommy coming back was also a help for that, which I hope in future seasons we get more stuff like that where like previous Rangers come back. And if Hasbro wants to bank on Mighty Morphin, well, just have the other Mighty Morphin Rangers come back in like season-long roles. Who is your favorite Kamen Rider character? Koda from Gaim. I just relate to him so much. Koda is the type of guy where like he's really trying his best. He just wants what's best for everyone. And honestly, he's just like the nicest freaking guy you could ever find. And also the fact that he wears blue a lot, which I also wear blue a lot, so yeah. Did anybody steal from your toy collection as an adult? And if anyone did, were you able to get the stolen toys back? Thankfully, no, but I saw that video of that one guy who got his Lego collection robbed from his garage, and let me tell you, I'm sorry if I'm gonna go a bit dirty here, but that is some tough shit to watch. Like, I watched it and I was almost crying myself. It's like, this poor dude was just collecting Legos and some bastard just came in and stole all his stuff. Like, really, it's unforgivable. Thankfully, no one has stolen anything from my collection. Everyone's pretty cool with my collection. But if anyone stole anything from my collection, I'd probably call the cops on them. Do you watch the YouTube channel Death Battle? If so, this is from Marcelino Vasquez, and the previous comment was from Anthony Subalats, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Do you watch the YouTube channel Death Battle? If so, which Power Rangers characters do you want to see in Death Battle? I would actually have to think about that. I think an interesting pair-up you could do is Tommy versus Iron Man. And I know some people have made Death Battles where it's like the Red Ranger versus Iron Man, but as I stated in my Power Rangers MCU video, I think Tommy is sort of the Iron Man of Power Rangers because of the fact that he has so many suits and he's basically in contact with everyone. When you really think about it, Tommy is the Tony Stark of Power Rangers. And yeah, basically those are my thoughts. Marcelino Vasquez. Which Power Ranger toy exclusive do you wish was used in the show but wasn't? Mine are the extra RPM Rangers. That is a close second for me, but the one I wish they would have used was the Beastmaster Megazord from Jungle Fury, just because I like how they were able to get the auxiliary Zords to combine, and they created 2 new Zords. Let me see if I could show you guys a picture of it. Hold on, my internet connection's going slow. Yeah, I'm streaming outside, which probably isn't the smartest idea, so my internet connection isn't really going so quick. It should be loading any minute now. Any minute now. Okay, it's here. Yeah, this thing. I actually have it inside my room. I don't know if you guys remember it from the Jungle Fury toy line. Yeah. Let me see. Also, what 5 Rangers should return in Dino Fury? In terms of returning Rangers, I feel like Dino Dino Fury could work with the whole concept of Ryusoldier that they had the master characters, where they basically had mentors. I feel like the MMPR Rangers would be a good fit for that role just because Hasbro wants to also bank on MMPR. Which, again, my problem isn't banking on MMPR. My problem is, how do you bank on MMPR in a way that's smart? And I feel like Beast Morphers has accomplished that, where it's like MMPR is sort of like 70% of the franchise because that's what everyone remembers, and 30% is everything else. I feel like Hasbro has accomplished that with stuff like the Lightning Collection and stuff. But I feel like the MMPR Rangers would be a good fit for the Master roles and Ryusoldier. Especially since you have certain similarities like a red T-Rex, a blue Triceratops, a Ranger based on a saber-toothed tiger, etc. The Blaze-Stone. What do you think Power Rangers Wild Force? What do you think of Power Rangers Wild Force, and is it one of your favorite seasons or at least favorites? If so, why? Wild Force is okay. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of my favorites, but I don't hate it either. It's just sort of an okay season for me. It's been so long since I watched it, but I really like the whole thing that they did with like Zenaku, and I also love the Zords. The Isis Megazord is probably one of my favorite Megazords of all time. Just the combination of red, orange, and green, and all those colors together, God, it looks beautiful. If Hasbro had the chance, could they rewrite the entirety of Megaforce? I don't think they're gonna spend money trying to remake Megaforce, but I feel like they would give it the Clone Wars approach. Which, what I mean is that you basically create like comics or an animated series or something like that that takes place in between episodes. Sort of like how Star Wars The Clone Wars took place between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And then you flesh out the characters more there, and so watching the original media in retrospect makes it a bit more brilliant. Even though I think Revenge of the Sith is one of the best movies of all time. Don't at me. But also The Empire Strikes Back. Obviously it's the best Star Wars movie. It's Empire Strikes Back. You want to make like... Okay, I can't really read this username, but want to make like a YouTuber tournament like Super Sentai Strongest Battle? It could be any YouTuber on your team. I've actually got these comments a lot a couple of months ago. I'm not really sure what the project is about, but I'd probably be down for it. Like, I don't know really who I'd pick. I think I have like 2 people in mind who I know I would pick who are also active YouTubers, but I would just need more explanation on the rules of how it goes. Woodpecker is here. Is mayonnaise an instrument? I'm sorry, I didn't read that right. Is mayonnaise an instrument? No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either. Yeah, I'm also an aspiring voice actor, so I tend to do like a lot of character voices. SpongeBob voices are especially really fun to work with. Okay, the Kyle channel. He's actually a longtime subscriber of mine, and he has a couple questions right over here. If you were a ranger, what kind of ranger would you be, and what would his backstory be? I think his backstory would basically be the same as mine. Survived a few brain tumors and managed to get powers. And for my ranger suit, I think it'd be the Dark Ranger, because I love Death Fuger. What do you think of the Muppets? I love the Muppets. Like, I haven't seen much of them, but I did watch the Muppets movie, and I saw this mini documentary from Defunctland on the life of Jim Henson, and I just found it really interesting. So yeah, I think the Muppets are alright. And the Muppets movie was hilarious. I think... Oh, wait. Hold on. You guys need to see this. I'm gonna... Yeah, let me just go back. Yeah. I'm gonna look up something for you guys to watch after the video. You will not regret it. Trust me. It has to do with the Muppets. Basically, someone recreated the entirety of Hamilton from Lin-Manuel Miranda with Muppet voices. And honestly, I think it's better than actual Hamilton. Now, if only my thing could load. Let me see. Tammy Martino. Oh yeah, I remember you. I'm still working on that Star Wars video, by the way. I do have a list sort of already completed of Star Wars characters. I just have to see, like, how it would work. Like, which Power Rangers characters would I pick? Oh yeah, if you hear some clanking over there, that's actually my buddy. He likes to knock over his water a lot. Okay, my internet connection isn't working. But has the cast been revealed? Nope, I don't think so. I checked Twitter like a couple of minutes ago, right before the stream. Which, let me see. Yeah, the stream started like half an hour ago, and they still hadn't announced the cast. Actually, let me do something. That way, I'll be able to read your live comments right from my phone as I'm going to, like, the actual Q&A questions. Yeah, because I think what's lagging is that I have the Q&A right here playing on the computer at the same time. So, okay. Have you seen Troll Hunters? If you did, can you review it? I think I might have heard of Troll Hunters review before. I haven't seen it. As for reviewing it, maybe. It depends what I have to say about it. What do you think of bronies? A lot of my friends in middle school were actually bronies, so I think bronies are cool. You know, they're just doing their own thing, they're not bothering anyone, so let them enjoy what they want. Trust me, I'm the guy who enjoys Power Rangers, so yeah. And can you make plush videos? Now, in terms of like retrospective on Power Rangers plushies, I actually have a lot of Power Rangers plushies in my room. So like a retrospective like that, I can do it because one of the channels I really like to watch is Pat Mac. He makes a lot of videos of like Nintendo merchandise and Nickelodeon merchandise, and one of his videos is like different Nintendo plushies. And the stories for all of those are actually really interesting. I was thinking about doing something similar for Power Rangers. But yeah, that's as far as I would go for plush videos, unfortunately, because of Kappa. Yeah, Kappa is still a thing. It hasn't destroyed us as much as it thought it would have, but it's still a thing. Troll Hunters is a cartoon made by Guillermo del Toro. Oh yeah, I actually have heard of Guillermo. Wait. Okay, because I actually had to watch a movie from my acting class that was about Che Guevara, the really infamous Cuban revolutionary, and okay, that's Benicio del Toro. Alright, I just remembered. Do you think Green and Black Rangers from Go Busters will be introduced in Beast Morphers? No. Just because they only appeared in a V Cinema. That's as far as I could say without spoiling anything, because I have seen the final episodes of Beast Morphers internationally. I'm just waiting to get some HD footage to be uploaded onto YouTube so that I could be able to make my review. But I already have that written down. What is your favorite Sentai season? Go Kaiger. It's like One Piece, but shorter. It has a lot of great characters. And what I like is that the cameos sort of give you a hint to like the history of most of the Sentai. So like, you look at it and it's like, oh, okay, so Five Man was about this. This happened in Jetman. Like, you sort of get like little grains of salt of everything that happened in every other show, and it helps open you up to like the entire Sentai universe. What is your race / ethnicity? Cubano, mijo. Cuba libre, hermano. Yeah, I'm Cuban. Would you consider characters such as Ninja and Blue Saturn to be Power Rangers? Yes. From what I've seen officially, they count as Extra Rangers, and I think they deserve that classification. But I don't think Magna Defender deserves to be considered an Extra Ranger, considering he actually morphs. So I find it odd that Magna Defender is considered to be a Extra Ranger, but Robo Knight is considered to be a 6 Ranger, even though Robo Knight is more like Ninja and Blue Centurion in terms of being like a robot character who doesn't really morph. Yeah, he morphs from Zord to Ranger mode, but not morph in like the traditional sense. And that was from Sebastian Young. I'm sorry if I'm missing the names on these. I just trying to get through the questions, but you could probably see the names on all of these. Who's the worst Blue Ranger, Dax or Justin? This is a really tricky question, actually. I would say, in terms of character, Dax, just because he's pretty annoying. But, and Justin, like, yeah, Justin often was, like, the smart one in the team, even though he was, like, 12 years old and stuff like that. But he wasn't a bad character, really. But if I had to pick between the actual real life actors, I would say Justin, just because Blake Foster has said some controversial stuff. I'll let you look that up, specifically relating to Beast Morphers. Nikki Sunshine, if you got the chance to create a brand new Power Ranger season, what would it be about? I've always wanted to do like an underwater themed season, just because I feel like ocean life is so interesting. It's like space in terms of like how far you can discover it, because keep in mind that a large majority of the world's oceans have not been discovered yet. So I would like to do like an ocean type series, like maybe them sort of exploring the ocean or sort of being like a team of scuba divers. But yeah, I think an ocean series would be pretty good. If Lord Zed was a ranger, what would he look like? I know that the comics introduced new Dark Rangers, which are basically like all of Zed's generals, except like with different colors. I think if Zed was actually to join those Dark Rangers, he'd probably be the Green Ranger of that group, because he did steal the green crystal that drained Tommy's powers. But if he was just like a ranger, like his suit was just based like a ranger, I feel like his helmet would probably remain the same, just because it already looks like an armored helmet. But his suit would be like this sort of burgundy color with like black and silver. And legendary content. What do you think it would look like if Theo, Jungle Fury Blue, and Ziggy Green RPM meet up? I think it would make for an interesting dynamic, because Theo is all like serious and stuff and about like focusing on his task, while Ziggy is like a goofball. Ziggy is basically the guy from Ant-Man, except in Power Rangers. Who is that guy? Luis. Yeah, the guy played by Michael Pena. And that is all for the first part of the Q&A. I have the second part up. But before that, I'm going to take like a quick 5-second break to get some water. So bear with me for a second. Okay, and we are back. Sorry, I've just been talking so much, and when I talk so fast, like my voice starts to run out, so I have a bottle of water right next to me. But let's just take a minute to look at the live chat that's here so far. Hot take, Dax is fine. Personally, like, my problem with Dax isn't really that he's like one of the worst Power Rangers characters. I think if he was one of the worst characters, he'd probably be like number 10 on the list. Like, somewhere like really, really low. Fortnite Season 4 is here. I heard that they're doing some Marvel stuff now with Fortnite. I haven't played Fortnite since like December, and I mainly play for my Switch, but I really feel bad for what's happening with the whole iOS thing, where like apparently Apple removed Fortnite because Epic was trying to circumvent the whole charges for, I forgot what you call it, V-Bucks. Yeah. But yeah, I feel pretty bad, because it's like, that's sort of like a dick move on Apple's part. Stop changing your thumbnails. The reason I go ahead and change my thumbnails for older videos isn't just to promote them, but also because, like, well, sometimes I see a video and I look at the thumbnail and I'm like, maybe this isn't getting enough views because the thumbnail isn't colorful enough. So I go ahead and edit it, because I try to make my thumbnail sort of simplistic. I try not to rely on like still images or anything like that. just because that's what everyone else does. I tried to go for like a simplistic style, sort of like what the Lightning Collection has done with their boxes, which Tom Whalen is a fantastic artist, by the way. But yeah, let's just dive into the second part. Because I asked for questions 2 times and I didn't expect to get so many questions. Again, thank you all so much, but wow. When I tried to make this into a video, it really wasn't viable just because there were so many questions and it's like, can I get this out on time? Plus, in that same week, in that New Year's week, I was super stressed out because also my mom was in the hospital and stuff, and yeah, it was a lot of stress that week, so that's why I put off the Q&A, and I didn't expect it to come out this late, but hey, better late than never. But next time for other Q&As, I'll try to be more earlier, obviously. So, King Makomani A. Thoughts on the Toys That Made Us Power Rangers episode on Netflix? It was a good episode. I already knew most of the information from the episode from Attention Time, which is produced by Toy Bounty Hunters, but I still enjoyed the documentary. But in terms of Toys That Made Us in general, I've really enjoyed the episodes for Star Wars, Transformers, and Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles one especially was interesting because of the whole dynamic that happened between the two creators, where like they split up and then at the end of the episode they actually brought them back together live on camera, which that was pretty heartwarming to watch. Also, what's a good place to watch Kamen Rider or Sentai? TV Nihon, and I know this isn't exactly the most legal thing, but make sure to get uTorrent when you download torrents for Sentai and Rider. And I know it may seem like I'm encouraging piracy or something like that, but so far that's the only way to really watch the current Sentai and Rider. It's not like Ultraman, where I've heard that on Crunchyroll they actually air the shows as they're going on in Japan with English subtitles and everything. But obviously, if Tokusatsu gets to eventually air current Sentai and Rider shows at the same time as they're in Japan, obviously support them. Sorry if this is late, but what is your favorite Tokusatsu other than Sentai, PR, and Kamen Rider? I only really watched those 3 in terms of Tokusatsu. I've been watching the original Ultraman. I've continued watching it in the past 2 days, and I have some stuff to say about that. Like, I like the show so far, but really I like it because I had to watch it, like, not thinking it's the Ultraman of today. Because old Ultraman and new Ultraman are, like, almost completely different species. Old Ultraman is kind of more like a mix of Star Trek and the Twilight Zone, where like sometimes, and sort of like Scooby-Doo in a way, where like they'll be investigating different monsters, and sometimes they'll come from space, sometimes they'll come from the Earth itself, which is an obvious commentary on environmentalism and stuff. And yeah, so far Ultraman 66 has been pretty good, but I have really enjoyed the anime, which I watched before the DVD releases began to happen, and the anime was alright. I'm really excited to see what happens in season 2, because I hear that the manga gets really good by introducing the Ultra Brothers and stuff. Okay, Julio Izquierdo asks, can you fly? I don't have wings, but I could probably play that song for SpongeBob if I don't get copyright claimed. The one where he's like, if I could fly so very high. The one from The Sponge That Could Fly. What motif do you want to see in Power Rangers / Sentai? I've already answered this. The ocean or beetle theme. Which Power Rangers actors would you like to interview in the future if given the chance? I'd actually really like to interview Campbell Cooley, just because he has done some interviews with some other Power Rangers fans, and I actually have talked to him before. He's a really cool guy. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to set up an interview with him. And other actors I'd like to interview, I definitely like to talk to John Toohey again, just because he was really great at Ranger Stop 2019. And Patrick David was also pretty cool. Campbell Cooley was the guy who played Scrozzle in Beast Morphers and Snide in Dino Charge. John Tui played Solaris Knight in Mystic Force, and Patrick David played Psycho Red in Space. Which operating system do you have on your computer? I am currently running OBS from my Mac laptop, and my regular computer is also a Mac. If you had to pick one Power Ranger season and watch for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? I think this is a pretty easy one. SPD. Just because there was so much that went into it. I feel like Beast Morphers is good. It's pretty good, but SPD is really where I felt where Power Rangers last sort of peaked in terms of world building and stuff. Like, it's just so expansive with the whole idea of like aliens living on Earth and stuff, and all the alien costumes and stuff. It feels like something you would probably watch on like CBS or something. So that's the one season I would pick if I had to watch it for the rest of my life. Orville Joel Concepcion Jr. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. What's your favorite Power Ranger suit? Full team, counting 6 and extra Rangers. Can I cheat a little bit here and say Sentai? Okay, for Power Rangers, actually, SPD. I just like the whole simplistic style where it's like you have you have the color over, not the color, the number over here, you have the color over here. Like, it's simple yet it's iconic, and I feel like Shadow Rangers works the best with the whole 100 right across the chest. But in terms of Sentai, Q Ranger is the best, just because the suits look so futuristic and fresh, and not to mention that a bunch of the suits have unique details, like Blue's is made out of furs, Orange has a tail, Pink has wings, etc. Which, that's what I want to see from future Power Rangers and Sentai suits, where like, you could tell they're all part of a team, but each one has distinct features that define each character. How well will Season 2 of Beast Morphers be? Without giving any spoilers, it's really good. I would say it's probably in the top 10 best Power Ranger seasons so far. It really is an experience, especially those last 2 episodes. So, what is your favorite video on your channel? I think my favorite video on my channel, and this is from our zone Games and Vlogs, is probably how Beast Morphers can fix Power Rangers, the video I published in 2018. It's really the video that got my channel kickstarted into what it is today. And I felt like in that video I had a lot of great points to make. And I was just so passionate about how Hasbro could improve the franchise after Saban basically tanked it. So yeah, that is probably my favorite video on the channel. What is a Super Sentai team that you personally hate? Ninja. Not because of the suits. The suits are pretty cool, but because of the fact that the show tried to be basically Shinkenger with ninjas, but it focused way too much on the comedy aspect, and some of the comedy really feels dumbed down. And it's really a shame that even though Ninja Steel is not as bad as Ninja, it's a shame that Ninja Steel really didn't reach its potential either, because of the fact that these are some great suits, but unfortunately they're stuck in a terrible and a mediocre show. What Power Ranger would you be? The Dark Ranger from Dino Charge, obviously. If you read this comment, then I would like to thank you. No, you're welcome. Thank you for commenting. I know it's been 2 days, but what happened to the 01 video? I can't find it. Yeah, so if you guys remember, around this time last year, I posted a video on my initial thoughts on Kamen Rider 01. That actually got taken down by Toei. At first it was just a couple of copyright claims, which I was like, oh, okay, that's no problem. But then they decided to strike my video, and I think it's because I used a bit of footage to talk about a certain scene. I used footage from the scene where like Arito and Fua are morphing in the second episode, just to prove a point about the music. And that is what led my video getting taken down. So I've learned that the way to circumvent this is basically to pitch up the color on tokusatsu footage and just not show like clips with audio. Like, I could show clips, but I have to be talking over them. Now, I could probably remaster the video. I would have to see like how I'd be able to do that. But yeah, unfortunately the 01 video got taken down, and I'm kind of afraid to re-upload it just because I might get a strike. Thankfully the strike went away, but yeah, YouTube's copyright by can be pretty terrible sometimes. Let me just look over here at my comments a second on the live chat. How much have you seen of Hyperforce? If so, what do you think of it? I haven't seen much. I've really followed along with it based on Orange Ranger's videos reviews of Hyperforce. I think it's basically what Megaforce should have been. It's like an anniversary series where they beat a bunch of past Rangers and they travel around. I feel like that's what direction Megaforce could have gone in, but unfortunately it didn't. What is the best arc of One Piece? Okay, I actually haven't watched One Piece. I've probably only watched the first episode because a friend showed it to me, but I've kept up with One Piece mainly due to like spoilers and watching the anime openings, which are really lit. But thankfully Netflix is starting to have One Piece, so I could finally like start catching up on it. But I've also thought about just watching it when the show ends, just so I could be able to sit through it in one whole run, and that's it. Okay, if you could combine two Ranger forms from any series, who would they be, and what series would you have them appear in? And thank you so much for the dope content, man. You're one of the great ones. Thank you, Douglas Bailey. Two Ranger forms I would combine. This is actually kind of a tricky question because there are a lot of Ranger costumes I like. But I think I would say the Dark Ranger and the Omega Ranger from SPD, just because I really like Omega Ranger's suit, but I hate the fact that he doesn't have a sword just because swords are my favorite type of weapon. And Dark Ranger sort of has like a boomerang sword, so I'd probably combine those two together. Another combination I was thinking is like Dark Ranger and the original Green Ranger, just because both of them are pretty similar. Shifukado-kun. How to defeat Power Ranger using Geo powers? I would say Geo would probably be able to defeat every Ranger ever if he just used Oma Geo, because Oma Geo form is basically supposed to be like super overpowered. And despite how I feel about Geo as a show, I actually really like the Oma Geo suit. Like, I like the black and the gold and everything. And from what I've heard of the Overquartzer movie, which I still have to watch, it basically fixes all my problems with the main show. So, yeah. That's how Geo would be able to defeat the Rangers. Let me check. I just got a notification here. I think I'll check it later. Yeah, let me get some water a second. I'm sorry, I've been talking so much and so fast, and my throat starts to run out. And if you guys ask where I'm at, I'm obviously at my home, so I've been staying at home for the past few months because of everything that's been going on in the world. So just stay home, wash your hands, and if you have to go out somewhere, make sure you take a bath immediately afterwards. But, Adana Quinn, will they make an anime Kamen Rider Super Sentai side series? They actually did do an anime Kamen Rider with Kamen Rider SD a few years back. That was like towards the Showa era, and basically it was supposed to be like a cutesy anime. I'd like to see that come back. I think it'd be pretty funny to get something like that. And Sentai has actually done some like anime side projects, because 01 had like an anime side project during the whole beer bug thing, which I have to refer it like that because if not, YouTube will probably take down this video. And Sentai also did something similar with Kiramager with the machines. So, but a full anime series, I feel like Hasbro would probably do an animated Power Rangers first, before Sentai does a full-on animated show. Now, about the rumors of Power Rangers, like, splitting off from Toei, I feel like it'd probably be, like, a temporary thing, like, during the movie, let's say. that they probably wouldn't make a show to let the year of the movie like have its own focus. And I feel like in any animated series we would get would probably be like Ultraman Jonius, where basically what happened with Jonius, from what I understand, is that they had the original Ultra shows, and then they had Jonius, which is animated, which was sort of like testing new grounds, but then they returned to live action with Ultraman 80. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. Will we ever see a new Kamen Rider X Super Sentai movie again? I heard there was one in production for 2021 or something like that. I forgot where I read it, but I heard that Toei was interested in bringing back Superhero Tyson. Which, if you're asking me, I think Tyson should be like a once every few years sort of thing, because when they started doing it every year, they sort of started to run out of ideas. Like, Tyson Z was really good. And then Kamen Rider Tyson happened. And that movie sucked. And then Tyson GP, which that movie was alright, but don't call it a Superhero Tyson movie because it was really just a Kamen Rider movie with the ninjas in the last 5 minutes. And I haven't seen Cho Superhero Tyson yet, but I have gotten footage from it for some of my videos, and it looks pretty interesting. I still have to watch it, but I like how it's more a back to basics for the Superhero Tyson genre. Will we get a dark and adult Super Sentai? I feel like for Kamen Rider, they were able to do it just because Kamen Rider has always been sort of more mature. But a dark and adult Super Sentai, I think it would have to be regulated to a streaming platform like Amazon's was. I feel like the best way to go with a more darker Super Sentai series would probably to do like, I don't know, maybe a next generation for Go Ranger, because Go Ranger was all about like spies and stuff. So yeah. Scribbles37 says, do you want Will Smith as a Power Ranger? Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Yeah, that's basically my best Will Smith impression, but it'd be cool actually. Like, it'd be cool to see like some mainstream actors star as Power Rangers, even if just in a temporary role. Like, imagine Will Smith as like Russell Brown and Dino Fury or something like that. Just like, even if it's limited roles, having like a mainstay celebrity in Power Rangers, I feel like not only would it increase the credibility of the show, but it'd also be pretty cool to see. I heard actually a couple days ago that Amy Adams originally auditioned for Lightspeed Rescue for the Pink Ranger, but her agent turned it down because she said it would ruin her career or something like that. So yeah. And you know, I also think, now I just thought about this, Jack Black would make a pretty cool Power Ranger. Just think about it. Which Power Ranger series do you recommend for a first timer? There are a lot of shows I recommend, but I would say really it depends on their taste. Do they want something that's more action oriented? Do they want something that's more focused on story? I would say SPD, obviously, because it delivers all of those things. I would also say Dino Thunder, just because it's like MMPR, except for a modern age. But those are the two main series I would recommend. If they want something more recent, I would recommend Samurai or Dino Charge, or even Beast Morphers for that matter. But really, like, there is no one way to go about Power Ranger show. I have my recommendations, but depending on what the other person likes, I would recommend something for them. Like, I think the best way to get someone introduced to Power Rangers and to show them what show they should watch first is maybe ask them, like, what their interests are. Like, do they like dinosaurs? Do they like ninjas? Do they like space? Because even though the Zordon era is connected with, like, with an overarching story, I think someone could still probably be able to watch In Space just because it's a really strong series on its own. Hablando está... And that's a word I cannot say, because if you know Spanish, you know what it means. As in theme song, if you had to choose between these, which would you choose? Dino Thunder, Ninja Steel, Jungle Fury, or Zeo? Dino Thunder. I just love how it's just a full-on rock song. Like, it starts out really slow, and then it goes full in, and damn, it it fills up your adrenaline for watching the show. And Jungle Fury is a close second because Jungle Fury was actually number 3 on my list on Power Rangers theme songs because, oh my god, it was amazing. Stu P says, just can't wait. Well, it's finally here. Shadow Nova Productions. What do you predict or hope for the next season of Power Rangers? I hope Dino Fury will keep on having the same intercontinuity that Beast Morphers has had in terms of like referencing past shows and stuff, but also being able to stand out on its own. That's what I hope for Dino Fury. I also hope that it won't be too similar to Dino Charge because one of my problems with Ryusoulger was how similar it was to Kyoryuger, and Ryusoulger didn't really find its own identity until after Ryusoul Gold appeared. 2. Are you excited for Kira Major? I love Kira Major. How would I say? It's a back-to-basics Sentai, but it just feels so... The characters are pretty fun to watch, and even though it's more simple, like, I kind of like how simplistic it is compared to what we've gotten recently. Basically, overall, I just love Kira Major. And favorite DC and Marvel superhero. Favorite DC superhero, I would say Superman, just because I've seen the first 2 Christopher Reeve movies. Superman is actually not a bad character. The problem is that Man of Steel sort of tarnished his image, but Superman, if you watch the Richard Donner movies, he's actually a pretty cool character. And Marvel, I would say Spider-Man, just because of the movies mainly. But Amazing Spider-Man 2 is complete trash. Honestly, I regret buying the DVD for that movie. Because I popped it in the first few minutes, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't a Spider-Man movie, this is freaking Mission Impossible or something like that. But there were a lot more problems with that movie. If you could create your own Power Ranger series and no Sentai counterpart was original, what would the theme be and how would it be portrayed? I already mentioned the underwater theme, but one idea I actually have been thinking about for a personal project, but I would also probably do it in an underwater themed Power Ranger show, is basically many years in the future, all of the continents of the world have sort of sunken because of climate change, and everyone lives in domes underwater. And basically the goal would be to see if there was any last remaining piece of land that maybe could be extended upon and civilization could regrow. That's an idea I've had for a personal project, but I would also apply it to an underwater themed Power Rangers and Sentai show. Hopefully the budget would be able to go for it. If you could make your own type of morpher, what would it be? For example, sunglasses like Jungle Fury, the flip phones and RPM, stuff like that. I love wrist changers, so I would have to say a wrist changer. I don't know exactly what type of wrist changer I would go with, but all I know is that it'd probably be like a 2-piece wrist changer, like either a 1-piece wrist changer with a switch like the Cell Shift Morpher and RPM, or a 2-piece like the one that they used in Live Man and Zeo. Which season do you think will be the next season of Power Rangers? I was betting on Q Ranger being the next season just because there's a lot you could do with the space theme. But I also knew there was a really high chance that Ryusoulger could be the next show just because it's the most newest, and despite Ryusoulger not being my favorite Sentai, it has some really good cinematography, which just watching it, that's just why I've enjoyed this rewatch that this one person has done of Ryusoulger on Twitter, just because like seeing all the fight scenes, it really is amazing. And people would look at that and will be like, wow, Power Rangers actually has a budget now. And okay, I know we're in our last few questions, but let me get some water because really I've been draining my voice a bit. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, it's just my voice gets drained sometimes since I'm talking so fast, and just because I really like being able to do all this and talk to you guys live and stuff. And I also took the time to check Twitter, and so far there has been no announcements regarding Dino Fury, but I really hope we get the cast soon. Like, I'm not gonna be like other people and be spamming Hasbro, where's the Dino Fury cast? But obviously, but I think that they should at least reveal something for Dino Fury, even if it's just like a small trailer, like for Beast Morphers when they released their first trailer at Morphicon. So, have you played Power Rangers Battle for the Grid from Kamen Rider 64? Yes, and I really love the game. I've been meaning to do a review on it, but I don't know how to capture Switch footage. I know that there's an Elgato capture card, but that's like around $200, so I'm gonna have to wait to do my review, but I really like Battle for the Grid just because it's actually playable. You can actually control the characters unlike a Legacy Wars. And a couple of my friends have actually really enjoyed it as well, because we've played it whenever they've come over. And what more was I going to say about Battle for the Grid? Oh yeah, and I feel like this is something I'm going to mention in the video itself. But I feel like Battle for the Grid was saved by the DLC. Because at the beginning, the game was like basically broken. Me and my friends would basically laugh about like how terrible the controls were and everything. But over time, the game has actually improved. And I feel like this whole thing of like now being able to send out updates for video games online and stuff has really helped Battle for the Grid go from zero to hero, basically. After Beast Morphers, which Sentai we've already discussed that. Would you like to see Battle Heroes make a return? We've already discussed that. What other companies you want to see make their own Smash Bros. Like game? My idea for a perfect Power Rangers fighting game would be something like Smash Bros. Or Hyrule Warriors. Like, basically, like, somewhere where you could get multiple characters. Because Battle for the Grid is good, but if there's one place I feel it's lacking, it's in the stage selection and in the characters. Because they have some really good options, but I just feel like there could be more. Because Smash Bros. Has a roster of like 70-something fighters, and Battle for the Grid so far has only like 20-something. So I feel like a Smash-like game for Power Rangers would work, or if Battle for the Grid could be updated to be more like Smash in that regard. What would it be like if Megaforce and Super Megaforce were separate seasons instead? I feel like they probably would have skipped over Goseiger completely, because I know the writers wanted to do just Gokaiger, which I feel like that would have been the best way to go, just like focus on Gokaiger entirely, and make Goseiger sort of like the Alien Rangers in that show, where it's like they briefly appear, but like, or maybe vice versa, have the Gokaigers be like the Alien Rangers in a Goseiger adaptation. Like the Alien Rangers in terms of that, it's a team that shows up for a limited time, but it's based on like another show. So yeah, and since Hasbro now owns the franchise, will we get a Power Rangers and Transformers crossover? I think it will happen eventually. It hasn't happened yet, but we have already gotten a crossover toy for Power Rangers and My Little Pony, so anything's possible, really. Chris Degato, what's your favorite Ultra Zord? Also, what's your favorite Sentai? I've already commented on Gokaiger, but favorite Ultra Zord? That's a toughie, because there are a lot of Ultra Zords. And actually, let me look up. Because I would say the Beast X King Ultra Zord, just because I really like the Beast X King Zord. Because it's a triple changer, and it's blue. But let me look up all of the Ultra Zords in here, just so I can make sort of a better decision. Because for now, I'm going to say the Beast X King Ultra Zord, but let's just take a look here. Oh yeah, this thing, the Ninja Ultra Zord. I really like the Ninja Ultra Zord also, just because I love the Ninja Megazord's design, but I also like how they incorporated it with Titanus. So basically, you have stuff from two different Sentai combining together. And if we could get more of that in the future, that would be pretty great. Like, I know some of the toys from Bandai Japan are actually compatible. Like, Bruno from MMPR Toys made a video on how the Go Busters and Go Anja toys are actually compatible. So I feel like if we could get more stuff like that, it would be pretty awesome. But yeah, I would say I'm stuck between the Ninja Ultrazord or the Beast X King Ultrazord. Basically, I like Zords that combine all of the Zords in that show. Let's just close that out. Do you think Rock would ever betray the Toxic Beast if he had the chance? Why or why not? I don't think he really planned on betraying the Toxic Beast, because I know in Ghost Ager, Brahira goes to like different enemy factions. First he goes to the War Star, then he goes to the counterparts of the Toxic Beast, and then he goes to the robots. But when you think about it, the Toxic Beast were really just like a subsidiary of War Star. Like, it's just like, well, I'm gonna recruit these two guys because we need extra firepower. He wasn't really like under their command like Brahira was in Ghost Ager. What do you think about Power Rangers Rail Force? If that's a fan adaptation of ToQger, I haven't seen it yet. If you could have another Power Rangers season theme return, what would it be? I always love dinosaurs, but we're already getting that with Free Soldier, but I would have to think, because we actually do have a vehicle theme now with Kara Major. But I would say a magic theme would be interesting. Sort of like what we got with Magi Ranger, but if they could combine it with Ryu Soldier's Night aesthetic, I feel like we could get a really interesting sort of Dungeons and Dragons type show. And The Annihilator says, and that previous comment was from Venjix Vlogs, The Annihilator says, what is your favorite Power Rangers show, episode, and moment? Show, SPD, episode. There are a lot of episodes, but I like to say that one of my favorites is Reflections. Just because it's the episode where Sky's character arc really came full circle. And moment, one of my favorite moments is also from Reflections and SPD, where Sky morphs into the Red Ranger and he avenges his father. Because it's one of those things that he really deserved it. It's sort of like Captain America picking up Thor's hammer in Endgame. And while that seems like all of the questions on YouTube... Hold on. Yeah, that basically seems like all the questions on YouTube, but I know there were also a few on Instagram and Twitter for this Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. But in the meantime, I'm going to read some of your comments over here. Worst PR day ever? I mean, I'm just thankful for the fact we even have a National Power Rangers Day at all. Because when you think of it, it's not something like Halloween or Christmas, but the fact that it's actually an official holiday, I'm just thankful for that. That Power Rangers actually has like a sort of mini holiday, sort of like, I don't know, National Spaghetti Day or National Pizza Day. And I think like a few days ago, it was also like National Dog Day or something like that. I hate Sky so much. I could see why some people might hate him, but I feel like it really comes full circle by the end of the show. And the Russian Wonder. Thoughts on Pirate Rap? Oh, the One Piece Pirate Rap. It was actually one of my first introductions of One Piece, because even before I saw the first episode with that friend, I actually remember seeing the 4Kids dub of One Piece, and specifically seeing the Pirate Rap, and how would I say, it's cringy, but it's cringy in a nostalgic way. Like, it's so bad it's hilarious. Does anyone want to go to Vietnam? You know, I'd like to travel to Vietnam one day. Like, I just like traveling in general, so maybe I could travel to Vietnam. Let me see. And I heard that Vietnam also sells like Sentai merchandise, like Vietnam and Thailand and all those other like Asian places. So yeah, I'd like to go to those countries one day, but especially Japan. Okay, I found one post. So just gonna copy the link, go here. Yeah, my computer is really lagging because of the fact that I have the stream up and I'm looking stuff up at the same time. And I know there were also a few questions from Twitter. I'm just pulling up everything from my social media feeds, just so I can have it open all at once. And let me see some of the other comments from the current live stream so far. Why does Nickelodeon have to be cringe? Honestly, the fact that they're thinking about doing basically a Cleveland show thing for Patrick, it's honestly disgusting because Steven Hillenburg didn't want any SpongeBob spin-offs, and for a good reason, because how can you make a spin-off to SpongeBob? And especially, like, how can you make a spin-off to a character like Patrick, who's just comic relief? Like, okay, let me give you guys an example. The Cleveland show. And like, I haven't seen much of the Cleveland show because I watch random Family Guy clips on YouTube, but Cleveland, I think, works best as a side character. There are certain characters who work best as supporting characters. Like, comedic side characters don't really work best as the main leads of their own show with stuff like Planet Sheen. But, yeah, the reason the Cleveland show failed is because Cleveland isn't really the type of guy to be a main protagonist. And that's also the reason why Planet Sheen failed. So I don't know why Nickelodeon, of all things, would think that Patrick would make a good lead character. Because Patrick's whole trait is that basically he's the dumb best friend. Let me see, any more questions? Do you think Sentai is better or worse than it was in the 2000s? I would say Sentai has definitely leaned more towards selling toys and telling a story in the 2010s and the 2000s. But if Cure Major is anything to go by, hopefully in 2020 it's going to start being a balance of both. Will there be Dino Thunder Yellow figure and Lightning collection? In time, probably. I feel like Hasbro will want to get to every character eventually. Like with Marvel Legends, where like, Marvel Legends, they're still pumping out figures. Like, it's impressive that they have so many characters in like a back catalog. And female figures have sort of gone in the short end of the stick in the Lightning collection. But I hope that Dino Thunder Yellow will come eventually, just because it would work perfectly in 2021. So that way, like, they could finally be able to complete Mighty Morphin, Dino Thunder, and Dino Charge, and you could have all the Rangers that were in Grid Connection. And yeah, Trent wasn't in Grid Connection, but, you know, at least you have all the Dino teams in time for Dino Fury. Can you share some of your experiences with having autism? Because I have autism and sometimes get bullied for it. Yeah. I actually used to get bullied a lot in private school because of the fact that I like Power Rangers. And private schools, let me tell you, they're filled with brats. Honestly, never put your kids in a private school. It's, if you want them to get depressed, put them in a private school. That's basically my thought on private schools. I don't like private schools. They're filled with a lot of people who don't practice what they preach, especially Catholic schools. And I got bullied a lot just because of, like, sometimes, due to my autism, I don't normally understand certain jokes. Like, for example, there was this one time where I had a crush on this girl, and this kid actually asked me, hey, do you want to have sex with her? And I didn't know what sex was, and I said yes, and everyone began laughing. And if you're asking how that's possible, yeah, the kids in that school, they knew a lot of stuff they weren't supposed to know, and a lot of them also played Halo and stuff. That same kid who asked me that, in 3rd grade, I actually caught him watching some stuff in the computer lab. So, Yeah, private school. Never go to a private school. I know there are some private schools that are good, and more power to you if you're in a private school that's actually good. But a lot of private schools, unfortunately, are filled with really terrible people. So yeah, and sometimes with my autism, like I could be a bit naive and stuff. And it wasn't really until middle school where I really found some friends. Like all of the friends I have today are either from middle school or high school. So yeah. And right, I was going to do this thing. So all of these words. I have to do a Twitter advanced search for a second. Just to be able to pull up that tweet where I ask people for their questions. I'm gonna go from September to November 2019. Yeah, and I feel like what really was good about going, because the middle school and high school I went to were public, and I feel like in public school people are more real than in private school. So that's how I made a lot of friends in middle school and high school. A lot of really good friends, and honestly, I'm really thankful for them. I probably I forget to call a lot of people a lot of times just because of how busy my life is between school and stuff, but really I have to thank them for being with me and hearing me out and stuff. And hold on, there was an error. You know what? Let's just go with the Instagram questions for now. Okay, no, I accidentally opened Final Cut. Okay. Favorite Super Sentai season? I already answered that. Why? Because why not? Movie Critic 77. If there was a Power Rangers version of Super Sentai Psycho Battle, which Rangers would you like to have on the 5-person team? In terms of my personal picks, I would probably have Taylor from Wild Force, Eric from Time Force. I'm trying to think of other Rangers. Definitely Dark Ranger, because I'm biased. I would have Zach from MMPR just because we've seen Jason and Tommy come back, but I feel like Zach would be a good addition to also come back because Walter Jones hasn't really come back to the show. Like, he did some voiceover work in Forever Red, but he hasn't really come back as Zach since he left Mighty Morphin. And that way you could have, like, one MMPR Ranger in there. And I feel like Cassie from Turbo would also be a good option. Because Cassie was a pretty cool character. And TJ also, like, if we had to have another character, also TJ from Turbo. As either the Red Turbo Ranger or the Blue Space Ranger. But I think he's more iconic as the Red Turbo Ranger. And cue that clip from Black Nerd where it's like, Solar Wood, first black leader of the Power Rangers. Kevin, multiple ones. What's your favorite Red Ranger in Sentai? I recently watched Zyuohger, and I think my favorite Red before that was Takeru from Shinkenger, just because I like how stoic he was. But I think I relate more to Yamato from Zyuohger, because Yamato is the type of guy who loves animals and basically just wants the best for everyone. But if you piss him off, he will come after you. So yeah, I think Yamato is the GOAT in Sentai Reds. I already talked a bit about my autism experience, but basically it took a lot of therapy and a lot of familial support for me to be able to sort of overcome my autism. You can't overcome autism completely, but you can improve on it. And what's your sexuality? I'm straight because I like girls. But unfortunately, I don't have a girlfriend. But hey, I'm an adventurer on YouTube, so yeah. I can't take an arrow to the knee yet. Uh, hold on. Because I just saw a really interesting comment. Randomness86, are you... Oh no, that was Nightstrike021. Are you excited for Ninjago Garden coming next year? I have Ninjago City and Ninjago City Docks, so I'm definitely down for more Ninjago City expansions. Kamen Rider 64, what other franchises should get their own national holiday? Ninjago, definitely. And One Piece and Dragon Ball, stuff like that, I feel like they already have their own days. Like, let me see. Ooh, I need to get some water. Yeah, One Piece already has a One Piece Day on July 22nd, and I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball also has, like, a holiday of its own. Like, of course, I don't think it's nationally recognized, like, say, like, International Dog Day or something like that. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it is actually official. They confirmed in 2017. Let me see. I know this isn't tokusatsu, but any favorite anime? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a show that really resonated with me. Funny story, actually. I had a crush on this girl in my last year of high school, and basically I was trying to get to know her better, so I was like, hey, you know, like, you've seen any shows or stuff? And it was mostly stuff like Game of Thrones and stuff, but she did mention that she watched anime a lot with her brother when she was little, and one of them was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I saw that the show was on Netflix, and I was like, okay, let me give it a watch. And I instantly loved it because it's perfect in almost every sense. It has a really clear story, it has lovable characters. The music, oh my god, it's freaking orchestral, it's amazing. The voice acting, amazing. Even though Vic has done some really controversial stuff, he really is great as Edward Elric. And I just, without getting into any spoilers, I really love the show. And specifically, the episode that made me fall in love with the show, because as I mentioned, like, I had a lot of problems with private school and how people are hypocrites. And unfortunately, a lot of religious people are hypocrites. Not all, but a lot. So, ACAB, except replace cops with Christians. But the one episode that really stuck out to me was the episode where they go to Lior and they investigate the fraudulent priest who said, oh, I can revive people if you do whatever you say I want you to do. That really stuck out for me. I was like, finally, someone is making a TV episode for this. Matthew J. Knight, what's your favorite Power Ranger? I already mentioned this. Tommy, Sky, and Heckle. Does the original Power Rangers come from Japan, Jew Ranger, or Super Sentai? Yeah, Power Rangers does come from Super Sentai, though the first season that Power Rangers adapted into Super Sentai was Kyoryu Sentai Jew Ranger, which is actually the 16th Super Sentai. At the time, this is the 14th because Go Ranger and Jacko were not counted yet. What's your favorite Red Ranger from Sentai? I already mentioned that. What's your favorite part about Toku, in particular Power Rangers is Super Sentai? I would say how theatrical it feels, because I took a theater appreciation class, and I learned that Power Rangers really is very theatrical in the way that you have people with masks, and you have coordinated action, and of course you have like different poses and stuff like that, which all of that comes from like theater, from not just kabuki but also ancient Greek theater. It's really interesting. You should probably read about ancient Greek theater, especially Oedipus, which the really old performance, the one with all the masks and stuff. I had to watch a clip of that for my theater appreciation class, and it was pretty interesting. It really felt like watching a mix of tokusatsu and Bionicle, but if you can avoid the version where they acted it out without the mask, please avoid it, because I had to watch the full thing for theater and I nearly fainted because it gets really freaking disturbing at the end. Basically, I nearly passed out when I watched it. How do you think they will handle Wild Force Red should they ever release him as a Lightning Collection figure? Do you think they will release him with or without an alternative head? They probably will release him with an alternative head just because of the fact that they've been doing so for every other main ranger. But I feel like we're not going to get a Wild Force Red figure probably for a very long time because of some controversial stuff with Ricardo Medina. Yeah, and from what I've heard, he's not going to be getting out of prison anytime soon. But I really still would like a Wild Force Red figure, just because Wild Force was a good show, and Cole was also a pretty good Red Ranger. Who is your favorite character from Beast Morphers? Steel. Actually, make that a tie between Nate and Steel. Nate is basically me as a Power Ranger, and Steel, I like how Steel is like a little kid in an adult body. In terms of that, he learns about different stuff, but even though he might be a bit naive, in the end, he always wants to do what's right. And let me tell y'all, those last episodes of Beast Morphers, if you haven't seen them, they hit hard. They hit really hard. And I think by the time we get to Beast Morphers finale, people will be able to see the similarities between Nate and Steel and Edward and Alphonse Elric. Trust me, there are a lot of similarities which I could point out in a video. Did you have any fun memories when watching Power Rangers SPD? Well, Grum actually terrified me as a little kid watching SPD, but most of the fun memories I've had of watching SPD came from because we have a DVD player in my car, and in my mom's car, she has a DVD player, so most of the time, like, whenever I was going to therapy or stuff like that, like, in between the trips, I would plug in my SPD DVDs, and I would start watching different episodes. So, yeah, and let me go on Twitter to find that thing. Okay, so 19, November. Woo, we've been here like almost like what, 2 hours maybe? Search, and let me just go ahead and go into some questions from the chat. I'm excited for season 14 in Ninjago. I see a couple of clips of season 13, and I finally found a way to watch season 11 and season 12. I have the episodes downloaded, but I haven't watched them yet. But season 13 also looks pretty good. Or Boomerang. I remember the Hub, like, I actually used to watch it a lot, mainly for the game shows when it came out. My sister also used to watch Friendship is Magic. And Boomerang, I have some really fond memories of that. Think of it, it was the summer, I was 9 years old, and basically most of what I would watch was just Boomerang. Like, all of the old cartoons, like Scooby-Doo, Huckleberry Hound, SWAT Cats, all of those were really great shows. And I heard that Boomerang is now a streaming service, so maybe I'll be able to get that one day. Does anyone remember Monster High? Yeah, I remember Monster High when it came out. It was like a huge thing with all the girls. And apparently they might be bringing it back with characters like Pennywise the Clown or something like that. The Hub hit different. Yeah. You know, there were actually some early rumors that Samurai was going to broadcast on the Hub, but then it went to Nickelodeon, and I'm pretty sure that the reason it probably didn't go on the Hub is because at the time Bandai had the toys, so it's like they'd be on a competitor channel, so yeah. But I think if the Hub were still around today, Hasbro would probably move Power Rangers there. Let me check. Okay, because I almost have the Twitter questions loaded up. Yeah, I should probably have all this stuff loaded up in advance next time. Oh yeah, and something I might show you guys at the end of the stream. I actually have a ton of cats out here because how it started is that we found a cat next door and she had 3 kittens, and then those 3 kittens grew up, and then eventually they had a lot of babies. And yeah, I could probably explain more once I open an Instagram account for them because I've actually been wanting to do that. Like, just because I love like cat pictures and stuff like that. Downward spiral since 2016 because Cartoon Network advertised Skybound's the final season. Yeah, Cartoon Network has not been the best at handling Ninjago, and honestly, I hope it actually moves somewhere else eventually. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if it was on Cartoon Network's app, except for the fact that you need a cable provider, and I don't have a cable provider. My TV, really, I just use it for Netflix, Hulu, and my Nintendo Switch. And I've been playing a lot of Mario Odyssey lately, which it's a really fun game. Of course, I beat the main game a long time ago, but now I'm just going after all the extra power moons, and so far I have like 700. Speaking of cringe, who remembers Breadwinners? Oh yeah, that show was horrible. Okay, we're finally here. I finally managed to get to the Twitter question. So, Thomas Jujubee, what is your favorite form in Kamen Rider? Drive type next. I just love how futuristic and fancy it looks. It looks like something that came out of Tron Legacy. Like, I just love all the spiked black angles and like all the blue lines. It looks amazing. Squall Charleston, someone who I actually didn't expect to comment on this. What is the most sentimental series you have ever watched and why? If I'm gonna be completely honest with you people, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like, there's just a lot of stuff in that show that really resonates with me. And it's stuff that I've seen throughout all my life, and I look back and I'm like, wow, this show was deep. Like, balls deep. Oh, hold on. Sorry, some of the cats were fighting. When can we see your collection video / room tour? I actually did that recently at the beginning of the pandemic, so if you guys want to check that out, you just have to head over to my channel and you could be able to watch that. I actually had a bit of trouble deciding how I wanted to do it, but I eventually just decided to do like a bunch of shots with some music. Sort of like what you see with real estate with home walkthroughs, just because I feel like I have so much that I didn't want to clutter up the conversation. I wanted basically everything to speak for itself. With the recent info about the Power Rangers movie, what are your thoughts about it? I think it's pretty cool that they want to do different things with the Power Rangers movie, like a female Red Ranger, and I heard that the Blue Ranger might be transgender or something like that, which, when you think about it, it's odd that Power Rangers is so diverse, but the only LGBT representation we have so far has been in the 2017 movie and in Beyond the Grid. So I feel like the movie will be able to make LGBT Rangers a mainstream thing. Like, hopefully maybe we could get an LGBT Ranger in the show for people who are LGBT, because I know that means a lot to them. So I think it's really interesting that for the movie, they're starting to go and like, they want to do like something off the wall. And I kind of feel like with some of the rumors we've heard about the movie having multiple Rangers, having time travel and space and all that, I feel like it's going to adopt Q Ranger, but in a way where you're not going to be able to notice it at first, but then when you look at it more in detail, it's like, oh, Hasbro basically created their own Q Ranger. I also heard a rumor that it's also going to be inspired from like Beyond the Grid, which I could see that happening because, of course, comic book movies are really famous, so it only makes sense to take some inspiration from the Boom comics. Do you want Hasbro to buy Sega? If it does, we get a Western variant of Bandai Namco. Only if it benefits them. Like, Sega's doing pretty good so far from what I've heard, so I don't know if Hasbro buying out Sega would benefit them. I would say really whatever works best for them. Do you remember the 4Kids Kamen Rider? You mean Dragon Knight? Yeah, I actually watched the entire show last year. I managed to find a mega folder with the entire series, and even Stephen Ford, who played Kit on the show, he's like, I don't encourage pirating, but here's the folders that you guys can watch it because they don't want to release the show on streaming or anything like that. And Dragon Knight, it's a really good show. Like, honestly, it's super underrated. I feel like it's the perfect example of how to make an American adaptation of a Japanese tokusatsu. Already answered this. Have you watched Kamen Rider Amazons? I watched the original Amazon from the 1970s around this time last year, but I haven't seen Amazons. Like, both times I've tried watching Amazons, I've only seen the first episode and I just completely forget about the show. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not that I think the show is bad. I like the suits and everything, and, well, Rena Takeda is actually kind of cute, but I don't know why. I just kind of forget to watch the rest. Can you do videos on all the Power Ranger seasons and why you hate/love them? I mean, a video about one season. I actually have a collab in the works about SPD, but in terms of season reviews, I try really not to do a generic season review unless I have something different to say, like something I haven't seen other people say, just because I don't like to sort of retread what everyone else is doing. But if you want to watch videos on all the Power Rangers seasons, Linkara and the Disney Brain have made some really good videos. Can you tank all the Power Rangers seasons, please? Sorry, can you rank all the Power Rangers shows? You know what? Let's do that right now, actually. Power Rangers tier ranking. While that, I'm gonna look at the chat. Remember when Kai was the pink ninja? That was actually Zane, actually. But yeah, that was actually a really fun episode. DX Tokusatsu. Oh, hello there! I'm actually a really huge fan of his work because I really like seeing those videos where it's like, you have the Morpher toys, and it's like people showing you how they work. So, if you guys haven't checked out DX Tokusatsu, please do so after this video. Do you like Transformers? Okay, so the reason I'm loading up... Wait. Okay, I think I accidentally clicked on Este's video. Yeah, because he had a link to a tier list, so I'm just gonna go off from there. Will there be full episodes of Ninjago on YouTube? LEGO has actually uploaded a ton of Ninjago episodes on YouTube, but mainly for the first 2 seasons. I don't know why they don't do it for the other seasons. Like, I know for the other seasons, they do it for, like, the Chinese and stuff, but for North America, they don't release the recent episodes on YouTube for some reason. Because Area Season 4 was gone and Territory Robot, so they... Don't we all remember the Gold Ninja? Yeah, but Zane was a robot already by the time Season 4 happened. Oh, this is Basub's video. Alright, yeah, I'm actually working on an SPD collab with him. I just gotta start watching the show. Let me see if he has the link to the tier list. About 4 episodes of Season 13 on YouTube, all episodes... Yo, send that to me. Like, please put it in the chat, and I will bookmark it. Let me see if it'll... Or DM me on Instagram or something. Okay, so he doesn't have the link to the tier list. So, let me see if I can find it on Tier Maker. Do you think Ninjago could work on Disney Channel? I think it would work more on Nickelodeon just because I know Nickelodeon airs Lego City and Lego Jurassic Park. But on Disney, I don't know. Like, I know on Disney Plus they have the Lego Star Wars stuff, but and Disney and Lego have a really good relationship. But I don't know because Disney, they don't really air what's not theirs. They don't like airing anything that's not produced by them directly. Which is why, for example, Yokai Watch failed, but that's a whole nother story that someone else made in a video. Okay, so I found the tier list. Channel name is Master Ninjago. Okay, I'll screenshot that on my phone. Thanks. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, create tier list. Okay, finally, it's this one. Okay. Yeah, no one has added Beast Morphers on here yet, but we'll get to that at the end. So, Morphin Master, I would obviously put SPD in here. Dino Thunder. Time Force, RPM. RPM, I was watching some clips from RPM for a video I was editing recently, and my god, RPM is just, we need another show like that. It really feels like something you would see on prime time. We need another sort of creatively artistic show like that. Let me see. Ultrazord. I'm gonna put Samurai on here. Hold on, not on Battleizer. Jungle Fury. Dino Charge. Yeah, let me just put these in order. Yeah, Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury is one of my favorites. It's actually pretty good. Let me see. I also really like Mystic Force. Don't judge me, so yeah. Wait. Oh crap, I forgot. Phone. That way so I could be able to see. Okay. Battleizer, I'm gonna place Mighty Morphin in here just because I actually have seen a lot of Mighty Morphin episodes, and the thing is, obviously, it's not as great as what came after it, and the Mighty Morphin nostalgia kind of got sickening when Bandai was overplaying it, but Mighty Morphin, you know, I like the suits, and the characters are classic, and overall, it is good, but I just feel like it's overhyped. Let me see. Lightspeed Rescue. Lightspeed Rescue, it wasn't necessarily bad. It's just, it was okay for me. Lost Galaxy. I'm also going to put it here. In Space. Oh yeah, In Space definitely goes in Morphin Master. Wild Forest. Wait, is there a bee out here? Okay, hopefully there's not a bee out here because I would be terrified. Zeo. Zeo was also pretty good, so I'm going to put it on Ultrazord. Vulcan Skull. I'm going to put Overdrive on here just because it actually is pretty decent. The problem really is that they got screwed over with the budget, so they couldn't really do the whole adventuring thing like Bokenger did. Turbo. Turbo is not as great as the other seasons, but it's not really that bad either. I actually enjoy a lot of episodes of Turbo in the second half when the new cast came in. And Ninja Storm might also put in Battleizer. It's just okay. Rita's Dumpster. Megaforce because wasted potential. Is there something below Rita's Dumpster that we could put? I want to see. Okay, we can put something below Rita's Dumpster because Megaforce kind of deserves to go way below that. And Ninja Steel, because Ninja Steel had some potential also, but I feel like the problem is executive meddling, because Chiplin even said it himself at Power Morphicon 2018 that Saban forced them to basically do like all the Victor Amani stuff and to focus on like all the shenanigans and stuff and try to make it basically MMPR 2.0. When, again, as I said, I think Dino Thunder is the best way to make an MMPR 2.0 because you kind of have like traits similar to the original show, but you update it for a modern audience. And it's just like, in a world where we have shows like Steven Universe that are so deep and stuff, Ninja Steel just feels like a show that belongs in an earlier era. Like, it's not something that you could really call made in 2017 apart from the footage. So yeah, that is my Power Rangers tier list. And actually, before we end, I actually have some questions from Snapchat. So we're gonna go ahead do those right now. Wait, it's not on this app actually. Yeah, it's on the YOLO app. Hold on. Okay, so I got a couple questions from YOLO. First one, how do you like college so far? College, I'll admit, was actually a bit of a rough start because of how busy it was and everything, but I've gotten used to it so far, and yeah, so far it's actually pretty alright. I will say this, it's definitely a lot better than high school in terms of the environment. Because, I don't know, high school, like, despite the fact that my high school was average, like, there was, like, a lot of drama around, and it's sort of like, I'm not really into that stuff. This is why I stay off social media a lot of the time, because, like, I'm not really into drama. Like, I'm a bit chimoso because I like hearing drama, but I just don't like getting involved in it. Do you believe we'll have new SPD merch one day? We already have 3 Lightning Collection figures. We'll probably get the rest of the team by 2025, because I feel like Hasbro would want to celebrate that benchmark. And maybe a Lightning Collection SPD Morpher, please, Hasbro? Will you ever cosplay a Ranger? If I could find a Dark Ranger suit, definitely. But I also heard that a lot of prop makers in the Power Rangers community unfortunately don't have the best reputation. Like, I've heard a lot of people who've had complaints from Anarchy Cosplay specifically. How did you find out about Power Rangers? Mainly from, like, different relatives and stuff who were into it at the time, like different cousins, and also, like, from just generally watching JetX. Was your favorite Power Ranger series SPD? Would you ever dye your hair a different color? Perhaps blue? No. I actually thought about dyeing my hair blue once, but then, like, thankfully my mom and my sister talked me out of the idea because it would just be horrible. Like, it's just, I'm not ninja. Okay, and we have a few more comments on here. Do you like Godzilla? I've never really understood the appeal of Godzilla. Like, good for people who like it, but I've never personally been attracted by Godzilla myself. I love your channel. You're amazing, dude. Thanks, bro. Update yet. Wait, is there actually an update for all this stuff? That's a cool phone case. Thanks, I actually got it from Redbubble. So, let me just go here. Let me actually check Twitter to see if there's any updates so far. What's your guys' best season of Ninjago? I think Season 8 is the best season in Ninjago. A close tie for me is Season 1 and Season 8. Season 1 just because it really took Ninjago to a really great start. Like, even though it's the first, there's still a lot of great character interactions and stuff, and action. And God, the music, it's just, it's great. And Season 8, I feel like it's really when Ninjago started to grow up. Like, it didn't go as dark as Bionicle 2006, but Ninjago Season 8 had enough maturity in it to really make it a good show. Okay, are you familiar with Voltron? Yeah, so I've never really gotten into it. But I have heard about the original Voltron and the new show, the one on Netflix. Yeah, let me see if there's been some sort of update on Twitter. What do you think of Power Rangers SPD 10 years later? Oh, are you talking about what they did in the comics? Wait, hold on. Are you talking about everything in the comics that they did with MMPR? Because I actually like the idea of JJ Oliver becoming the new SPD Green Ranger just because it's sort of like following his dad's legacy. I like the fact that Sky gets a new power set because people speculated for years that if Sky became commander of SPD, he'd get the Shadow Ranger power set, and it's like, no. Because that power set was made specifically for Doggy Kruger. So it's nice to see that he actually gets a new power set, and that Red also gets like the chess piece from the Deca Ranger movie. Have you watched Japanese Spider-Man? I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. And why doesn't Netflix only have seasons 1 and 9 in Ninjago? I don't know, to be honest. Like, my mom and I have been watching Ninjago. She's currently at the tail end of season 4. I know, she takes a long time to watch Ninjago, but because I watch it with her. Basically, like, I've been rewatching all the seasons, and it's her first time watching these seasons, and so I put her out to different stuff that, like, this is what this scene is supposed to mean, and stuff like that. And what was I going to say? And I know that eventually, like, if Netflix doesn't put up season 10 onwards by the time we finish season 9, there's going to be a problem. Because I know season 10 is on Netflix, but 11 to 13, I haven't seen it anywhere on Netflix and stuff. Or even iTunes. Let me see. Okay, so the Power Rangers account hasn't posted anything. Let me check Token Nation, because that's where I get all my Tokusatsu news. It only took me a few days to watch seasons 1 and 4. Honestly, I don't know how people can binge watch a show in just a few days. Like, it took me easily at least a few weeks to get through all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Okay, I'm trying to look on Twitter because there was something that Power Ranger Talk posted, which is really interesting. Where it's basically that, like, Dino Fury... And it's actually kind of something I was speculating last night, that Dino Fury might be sort of a series reboot, like a branching timeline. So, like, the regular continuity is, like, Mighty Morphin onwards, but then, like, Dino Fury could be, like, a branching timeline where it's, like, sort of like a reboot of sorts. I hope you get what I'm saying. Like what Transformers does, where you have like the same characters and stuff. But like for Dino Fury, you have different suits, but you still have like the same Jason, Zack, Trini, etc. Sort of like what Ninjago does. Let me check. Damn it, this thing doesn't load. Okay. But you know, in the meantime, I actually want to show you guys something cool. I hope I'm not going to get copyright claimed for this. What is your favorite Power Rangers episode? I have a lot of favorite episodes, but I would say definitely a few of my favorites are Reflections from SPD, Legacy of Power, just because it's a pretty interesting clip show. What else? Once a Ranger was actually pretty interesting. Like, yeah, the Overdrive Rangers got sidelined, but Once a Ranger was actually a pretty good crossover. But there's something I want to show you guys in the meantime, while we wait for our good old friend Twitter to load. Okay, apparently there's something trending on politics called LegoGate, which I'll read up on that after the stream. Ooh! Jason Biscoff just revealed some prototype Master Morpher coins that were supposed to release alongside the Super Zeo gem set for the Legacy line before Hasbro took over. Okay, why does it keep going back? I'm sorry, we're having some technical difficulties here. Heard of Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go? Yeah, I've heard of it, though I haven't seen it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to his page directly. And actually, let me make one more announcement before we get to this. My next video is actually completed. It's a retrospective on the Lightning collection, like all of you have been asking for. Except it's not going to come out immediately because it's actually going to premiere at an event with the Illuminati, which they should be announcing it in a few days. So the video should be coming out within the next week or so. But yeah, the video's already done, but I can't release it yet because I want to premiere it at the event first, and then after, probably after it airs over there, 10-15 minutes afterwards, it'll be on YouTube, sort of as an instant replay thing. So what you see of sports and stuff. Oh, okay, there's a mosquito. It's not a bee. Thank God. Okay, so it's 3 o'clock, and nothing has gotten announced for Power Rangers 8. Let me go on my phone a second. I might have to close out the live chat on my phone, but let me go because it's going to load up here faster. And then I'll show it on the screen. Okay, it's just speculation so far based on what Hasbro said, where it's they're gonna have the original 5 Rangers, which is also something I've been thinking that they could do that, sort of a branching timeline. Which, because we know that thanks to the Boom Comics, we know that there is a multiverse for Power Rangers, so they probably could go in a direction where it's Dino Fury is a branching timeline where you have the MMPR characters, but they just so happen to have Dino Charge aesthetics. Think of it like this, and this is actually something I wanted to address in the video, but I probably won't make the video until this is confirmed, but think of it like this. Beast Morphers is basically the Prime Dimension version of RPM, because you have a Red Ranger who has a father with a position of authority. You have basically Nate and Steel have the same colors as Gem and Gemma, but Nate is kind of like Dr. K in the way of being a child prodigy, and Steel is sort of a mix between Ziggy and Dylan, because he's the comic relief, but he's also a robot. And technically that would also make Ravi and Zoe counterparts to Finn and Summer. Though, I think Ravi would also maybe get a bit of Gem because of the technical know-how, because Ravi has been a part of Grid Battle Force for years, as we see when, in the first episode, Beast Morphers. But yeah, so far Power Rangers, I don't think they've announced anything. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. No, you people have to see this. This was announced a while back, but okay. The big announcement for 3 o'clock was the Pink Ranger phone. Wow, what a troll. Imagine if, like, suddenly, I don't know, like 11, they dropped the Dino Fury cast, and then, like, they were hyping people up for this, and then suddenly they dropped the Dino Fury cast at a random time. Like, I don't know, 3 a.m. That would be genius. But, yeah. So far, there isn't really anything else on the stream to really talk about. Oh, that one thing I wanted to show you. Basically, yeah, let me turn off my volume. Let me show you guys this. Oops. Shit, man. You guys are gonna be. Boom! I have a gaming setup, so if I ever want to do some live streams where I play some old Power Rangers games, I can actually. Hopefully, I can have a claim video. Here's level 1 for yellow. I know this is running on OpenEMU. I know there is a way where you can control the Wii next controller. So I have to see about the Xbox controller be connected to a USB port, and I don't have USB port because of the double. Because you know. So yeah. So yeah, I have a game set up for if I want to do some Let's Play, maybe like live streams. And let me see if you were comments. Super Sentai before the 90s America. Because the short answer is because they haven't been adapted. But Jetman, which actually premiered before Ranger, has been released on DVD and is on Shout Factory's website. Yeah, I did OpenEMU. But yeah, that's basically the short answer. The long answer is that Super Sentai was actually meant to be adapted way before Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because Stan Lee wanted to adapt Sun Vulcan into the US. And then that failed because HBO said no. And then Haim Saban wanted to actually do Bioman, but they rejected him for years. And by the time that he actually got his pitch to be successful,